see it. Am I live? Okay. Okay, I can see it on my other screen. Hey everyone, welcome to Friday. We made it. My name is Emily. I am a graphic designer in Southern California. And more importantly, I've had the honor of being your bootcamp host for all this week. So if you're just joining today, we're so glad you're here. If you've been here all week, even more glad you're here again. We've been building a campaign this week for Mount Rubidoux, which is a local hiking spot for people in my city. And we've been trying to make it a believable national park through a multi-channel campaign here. So I'm a brand designer, and this is a lot of what my daily workflow looks like, jumping between programs, touching different channels and things that are used for marketing purposes. And so I get to show you a little bit of my day-to-day and show you my favorite programs. So we'll do a little recap. So this is kind of the vibe that we have been going for. It is an iconic and well-recognized style for posters. And then we used that as a reference. And so day one, I'm going to go through kind of what we've been working on if you haven't been here all week. Oh, and let me also say, hey, Sam, everyone in chat. Yes. So I am the only one talking on this. So if you guys want to jump into chat and keep me company, talk with each other, ask questions, I do my best to monitor both of being design focused and then also monitoring the chat. So if you need something, say it there, and then we'll just have a good time this Friday. But back to what we've been working on. So Mount Rubidoux, this is our key artwork. So we chose these colors and typefaces on day one. We used some stock photography for reference and to create this illustration. Day two, we jumped into social media. So we looked at making it for your feed and then for stories. And then we also did a brief exercise here as well on Adobe Express of how to use that program and then how to schedule your posts. Then yesterday, we did direct mailers and parking passes using Illustrator and InDesign. So we data merged a bunch of addresses and names, and then parking passes, and then type of pass. So that way, these would be very official and people would know where they're parking and then also get the direct mailer for that. This was another little one we created, but we didn't do any of the back part for it, but that's okay. So here's a front design that we were working with. And then today, what we're going to be focusing on is building out an email campaign to make this very official, because if you get an email, it seems a lot more real. So we'll be using Illustrator for that. And then also we're going to build a GIF in Photoshop and show that how you could put that into an email campaign. So again, if you have any questions, drop it in chat. If I'm talking too fast, please let me know in chat as well, or watch some playback at like half speed or something. But I kind of just like think as I go. And so if it gets too fast, I do apologize, but I'm excited you're here and let's get to it. So we are going to start a new file here for our email, and we will name this National Park Email. The standard use or size that people use, I think, is like about 600 for the width of it. And we're going to be in pixels because this will be for digital use. The height, we're going to do 1500 for now. We don't need a bleed or anything. Let's do RGB. We're going to do medium resolution here at 150. Technically, it should be 72, but I don't know. I always am not sure, so I usually do it at 150. Yeah, so we're going to click create. And this is like your standard email size, basically, right? So we are going to pull in stuff that we've been using from this whole campaign to make this look great. So this was just my overview for you. Wow, here's our original posters. So I'm going to pull in the colors from here, and then I'm going to like grab this art as well, just so we have a live version of that. And we'll just put it in here. And let's grab this type as well. That's some of our messaging that we've been using, which has been fun. Okay, awesome. So if you guys want to jump in chat too and like suggest anything for an email, whether maybe we're going to do like a promo messaging or anything like that, feel free to do so. I'm just going to come up with stuff as we go here about how I would probably go about advertising this. Usually I work with a communications team or like the advertising team with companies, and they usually give me the copy to use, but we're going to do it this way and just have all the reins right here. Okay. So here's our colors. So we'll probably start with like a little bar at the top. Usually I want to say this is about like 70 pixels is like a good, it doesn't have to be, but that's usually like what I see as the standard. So maybe we'll see 70. And so one thing to keep in mind when you're doing emails is that this is going to be, I usually tend to think web, right? Like I usually read my emails, especially marketing emails on my desktop, but a lot of people, and more often the open rate I think is for mobile. So you want to make sure that this is like somewhere in between. So it's not looking too big on mobile or too small on mobile, and making sure that it like goes for both. If you use live text, which would mean you weren't doing the whole thing in Illustrator, that gives you more scalability. But Illustrator works just great for this, so we'll go ahead and do that. So maybe we will do our little header here, our local national park services as our header. That seems kind of cute. So I'm going to outline this. We don't have to, I guess, but I'm just going to in a destructive workflow type of way here. Okay, pull this over. Let's make sure this is aligned correctly. Okay, love this. Cute. Let's put it up here, but yellow on yellow, obviously you cannot read, so let's make this like a darker color. And then let's put that, make sure that's in front, so we're going to bring that to the front here. And let's put that in white, maybe. That might be easier. Love that. That's a little big, huh? Okay, so maybe I could see this being like the wish you were here language we were using. So maybe we do that as like our opening here. So I'm going to pull this in, and there's no like given size, I'd say, for a content block. I've seen people suggest like 800. So let's see where we're at. We're at 4. Maybe let's just do 500. Again, it really doesn't matter. What matters more is that you don't have gaps on the side like this is right now. And let's like align this to the artboard. I might leave a little white space there, or we might just put let's leave a little white space there. It feels nicer. Okay, wish you were here. So one thing to keep in mind with emails as you go is what part of this is going to be interactive. And again, if you would be, it depends how you upload this to your email server or who's going to be sending this out for your platform, your host. I like to think of it as like what block has an interactive element. So like, for example, if this has a button right here, that would be something that's going to be, I'm just gonna make it gray for now, but this would be something that's going to be exported as its own block, right? So anytime you add something interactive, that's going to be another block. So just thinking in that way as you build, you could do them all individually, but if you want something to link, that's kind of where it starts to cut itself so that you have that capability. So just make sure that you think about that as you're going. I'm gonna delete those for now. So I'm assuming this is going to have one, and we're gonna maybe have this, let's do a button here. I think 72 is about like the average height for a button. Web people are very specific about this, about button size. So I feel like they might say something. If you have an opinion, let me know. Let's do this, and let's add this to the center. And we're gonna have this be like, visit the website or something. And I think we're using Colt, but I think we're also using Helvetica. I feel like that's a little bit easier to read for buttons. So let's use that. Visit, maybe it's our website, we'll be friendlier here. Visit our, or maybe let's do like, read more, since this is our like launch campaign. And we always use a little caret. You don't have to use a caret, but I feel like he's a little fan. Okay, read more. That looks really big. That's crazy. 24, yeah, does seem really big. All right, I'm gonna make this smaller. I don't know. Hopefully people can still click it. Line to artboard, center it, love it. Okay, let's drag this down a little bit. Okay, wish you were here. Let's make that really big because we really wish they were here. And I think there was a lot of fans yesterday of the little stamp we made. So let's use this stamp. It was in our mailer. And let's make this into a GIF. I think this could be really cute. In my mind, what I'm picturing is, I'll just bring it in here so we can see. So this is going to be a static image placeholder for now because you can't put a GIF into Illustrator. You can, but it'll only choose like one frame of the GIF. So we'll just put this as a static image of what we think this would look like, and then we'll go back and make it into a GIF. So I'm going to like tilt it so we know that it would be like, I'm envisioning it just kind of moving back and forth, you know, like a little dance of like, wish you were here. Or we could do one even where it was like a static and then maybe it like got the stamp mark on it. That could be cute, but I think this will be fun for now. So let's do this, read more. And my goal here is to try and pull in pieces that we've been making this whole week and pulling them into one place. So just to show like how you can use assets like across different platforms and like reuse them. So it's not just like a one-time use, creating more value for you, for your customers, for your time, all the above. Okay, so that'll be our little GIF. We love that. And maybe we add texture. No, that might be too much. Let's do this for now and see how we feel about it. Okay, love this. And then we're gonna add another title here. I think we're using Condor. So we'll do like a national park in your backyard. Let's do that. Okay, and if you notice, I have very inconsistent capitalization here, so let's use our type panel to fix that. So let's do change case, let's do title case. This might depend on your client. Also, I'm gonna put this in a text box because that's gonna be scalable. So let's put this here, a national park in your backyard. Who doesn't want that? Okay, and for some people, this actually is in their backyard. For me, it's about like a couple minutes. Well, it's a decent drive away, but for some people, it really is in their backyard. Okay, and let's turn this into Condor. Since this is a header, I think that would work fine. Condor. Yeah, so cute. Love this. Okay, let's scale it up. So I'm envisioning, right, if this is on mobile, that's looking good. And if this is in my email, it's not looking too big, I think. Or on my desktop, I think it's not too big. Maybe we'll pull a little bit of that. Let's do like a little copy here. You heard, or have you heard the news? Let's keep it friendly. Have you heard the good news? Mount Rubidoux is now a national park. And let's turn this into Helvetica. Oops, Helvetica. And let's do regular. Scale this down because this is just body copy, so it doesn't need to be all that big. Let's maybe do 23. Yeah, that feels good. And then we were talking about this yesterday. I'm a big fan of making sure that there's not random hyphenation in here. So you're gonna go to the paragraph panel and then just uncheck this little box that says hyphenate. So that way you don't just get random line breaks and stuff like that. Okay, now national park, we're gonna put an exclamation mark. That's very exciting news. And then we're just gonna use some placeholder text here, which is awesome. This is now in Illustrator. It didn't used to be. Fill with placeholder text. So if you wanna see where that was again, so I'm in my text box, I'm gonna come up here, go type, and then I'm gonna go, fill with placeholder text and click that like that. So now we have our little header, our little body copy. Love that. Andy's joining the stream. Hey, Andy, how's it going? We are making an email right now to combine all of our assets from everything we've been working this week. Okay, that's looking good. So we have our little intro, and I'm also envisioning this as a screen. So you want to make sure that you're not hitting, and the same like with a website. You want to make sure that as someone's scrolling, you kind of get like a little preview. I think of like the next piece so that it's not just like static. And some people don't scroll naturally. I feel like after using social media, a lot of people are naturally scrolling through things, but I like to try and keep that in mind as I'm going like, okay, we're on the phone screen with this land, on the average phone screen, I'd say, and can people see like there's more to the email? So that's something I would keep on mind or keep in. Actually drag out a guide. So I'm gonna press Command R to make the guides appear. And then I'm gonna click the artboard tool to show this little line in the middle. So that's gonna be the direct center of your artboard. And I'm just gonna place it for the vertical line only because this email is already kind of long. So we're probably gonna expand this artboard down. So having one horizontally isn't gonna help me much unless I'm doing it per content block. So we'll see if we wanna do that. Okay. So that's looking good. And I'm going to press Command colon to turn that off. And then if you want to turn it back on, same command. I'm going to turn it off just so I can work and not get distracted with that. Okay, I'm going to scale this down a little bit per my insight there of, can someone see this? And I'm going to make sure that does not get left behind. Love that. Let's pull this up. Let's just scale that guy. Okay, center it again. Love it. Okay, pull this up a little bit. Okay, let's see what other assets we have of like what we can pull in there. So we have a parking pass. Okay, actually, let's do that. I think that could be really helpful. So I'm going to use this and pull this in. And let's do like, are you planning to visit? Like, let's make that our little thing here. Okay, so just a note from yesterday. I think we're going to round this out. So what we did is we created this pass. And so the idea would be that this little part would get, this white part would get cut out by the printer. So you would just hang this on your rearview mirror, correct? But so since this is like the flat file, it doesn't look as cute. So we're going to cut this shape out. Let me see if I still have the shape. It'd be awesome if I did. I think I built it in here. I do. Okay, great. So we have this shape. So I'm going to bring it in so I can just cut this out. And so we data flowed this in InDesign. And so this is the final like PDF file, but we're going to cut this out. So that way, let's reflect this. I'm going to add like a little drop shadow to make it look more realistic, kind of like how we did with the poster mockup on day 1 or day 2, I think day 2. That way it just looks a little more real. And I think that just always makes it a little more interesting. So we are going to do a Pathfinder knockout here. So now I'm going to drag this over so you can see how this is knocked out and it's cut out. So and I'm also going to round these corners. So I'm going to click on my shape. I'm going to press A and use the direct select tool and grab this corner. If you can see, there's a little dot here, and that always rounds the corners for you. So we're going to round this up a little bit. I think that looks nice. And that's kind of how I'm envisioning it. And again, that's something the printer would do, like when they cut these for you and print them. So we're just gonna do that way. So I'm gonna highlight both of these, drag them on top of each other, and let's align them to make sure they're perfectly aligned. So I'm gonna highlight both of them, right click and do make clipping mask. And that's gonna use the top shape to cut out the bottom shape. And so now, oh, actually one thing, let's make sure, I think this has a drop shadow on it. It does. So let's turn that off because I don't want it for this. I'm actually gonna delete it just so the data's not there. Otherwise it kind of makes it bigger. Okay, so I'm gonna do that again, make clipping mask. Gorgeous. Okay, and now I'm gonna add a drop shadow to this. So let's do effect, stylize, drop shadow. And so now, again, that's off of the clipping mask shape, not the actual artwork underneath of it. And 15 is a little low, so maybe let's do 25. And this is how offset it is. Let's make it a little bit closer. It doesn't need to be that big. We want it to be believable, but not like distracting. Okay, cute. So doesn't that look like a little real parking pass now? So we're gonna be like, maybe let's do a little informational piece of like planning a visit. And I'm gonna do this as like the light. I like to break up my emails with like different colors just to make it interesting instead of just being all white, which is more standard in stock. And so that's kind of the benefit, I think, of doing this as a designer versus just in an email platform, excuse me, which is great. Hold on, I'm gonna drink some water. Okay. Email platforms are great, but I think there's like a special capability. And actually, you probably can do this in most email platforms, but I'm just more well-versed in Illustrator, so it's easier for me. Okay, so let's do this. And so what I'm trying to do here too is make sure that like this top page or this top space looks about equal to this bottom space. Would you experiment with typefaces or satisfied with the font's natural beauty? Well, that's a good question. I would say for email, I think the biggest thing you should think about is end use and like what's the longevity of this? So emails are very short. Like their lifespan is not that long, right? You design it, you send it out, and people either read it or they don't. So sometimes people don't even see it. So I would say with emails, you want to spend time on them to make them readable and people like enjoy looking at it, right? You want to like have some competition with other things that are in people's inboxes. But I would say for an email, I wouldn't spend a lot of time customizing type, aside from maybe warping type, which we could do, just because the time I don't think would pay off for like what your client's paying you or for like how much time it would take to do that versus like the end user and like, would they actually appreciate it? So if you want to do custom type, I think that'd be great for like the initial campaign. So like maybe that would be like more custom type for this, and then you could use that throughout. So I'd say spend the time on customizing type where it lives the longest. So that's probably in print. If it'd be on merchandise, that'd be awesome, or anything like that. But for email, they kind of get like the shortest end of the stick, I feel like, because it just doesn't have that much lifetime to it. But they are effective for like buying. And that's the other thing too, is like, I'd say if you want to customize it, go for it, but make sure that it's still like really easy to read. I forget, there's definitely stats on it, which would be interesting to read about like how long people spend reading an email, but it's not long. And so like the easier to read, the better. So that'd be my thought on that, if that answers your question. Okay, so let's do this here and let's do like planning a visit. So I'm just copying that so I can keep the same size. And let's make this like a little clickable thing that's gonna be like, make sure to get a parking pass or like register now or something. So maybe it's a little big. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna scale this down and we're gonna make this, let's bring this to the front. Okay, and let's say like, let's say like, well, let's help them understand like it'll make their visit easier if they register beforehand. So make your visit even easier by registering your vehicle beforehand. And then let's add another little clickable button here. So by adding a button, this is going to make this another slice that we have to cut, right? So this one right here doesn't need to be its own slice. So we could either connect it to this top one, or we could connect it to this bottom one, or we could leave it as its own, but that just means whoever's like putting this into the email platform afterward is going to have another slice to do. So it really depends what works best for your team and their flow. Or if you're doing it yourself. I try and stay out of it because I don't want to be responsible if a link goes to the wrong place or something like that. Okay, and we'll just do like register now. You know what? I feel like maybe to make sure that people really are seeing these, let's put this into all caps. So I'm going to use just my type panel because I love that it's in there now. Sorry, let me move this thing. Okay, character, let's do right here. So the two double tall T's are all caps. So let's do that. Oh yeah, now they're serious. Now we're going to register now. Okay, and I'm going to align that, and then I'm going to group that. Okay, Command G to group that. And let's do this one the same way. So let's make this all caps as well. Another way to do that, which is where it's going naturally, you go into type, you go change case, uppercase, like that. Cool. And And let's align that as well. Love that for us. Okay, cute. Okay, and so this is getting lost on the cream. I like the cream because I think it complements this really well. So let's make this like maybe the dark blue color. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's like light blue. Let's come up here, grab our light blue, our dark blue. Yeah, I feel like people are gonna click that. Okay, let's align these because they look a little chaotic. And so I have the align panel there set to align to selection. You could do key object or artboard, but we just want to do those 3 shapes, so we're gonna do selection. Okay. And then I don't like how close this is to the edge. This isn't going to print, so obviously we don't have to worry about it getting cut off, but just for visibility, like if it's too close to the edge, I feel like it gives you like a little bit of a nervous feeling or like, is it gonna fall off? Like it's just better, I think, to give it the space it needs. One thing here, I don't know if you just saw that right here, those little pink guides that are showing up, that's something that's really helpful that I feel like I've just started noticing. I don't know if I changed my settings in Illustrator, but it's really helpful for spacing. And that's something you would see, I feel like, more in InDesign, but it's come up in Illustrator now and I love it. And it just makes your life a lot easier instead of trying to eyeball it or just be like, okay, I don't know. That's really helpful. Okay, so I feel like that looks good. Maybe this looks a little squished. So maybe let's make this a little bigger, but maybe let's straighten it out a little bit. It doesn't need to be that fun. I feel like too angled is too fun. Okay, cute. So now we have people registering now, which is great. I'm gonna pull this down. Okay, what is my favorite design genre? That's a good question. Are you asking more of like what projects I enjoy working on or like style, like minimalist, editorial illustration, photo manipulation? Oh, I see. Honestly, I don't have a preference. It really is like whatever is the program that helps do whatever I'm trying to accomplish, right? So if I'm trying to edit a photo, I definitely want to be using Photoshop. And if I want to make a magazine layout, I'm definitely using InDesign. So that's kind of how it falls for me. And I enjoy all of them. I think they all are interesting and have their own strengths and weaknesses. And so I kind of enjoy getting to use all of them. So I honestly could not choose a favorite. But actually, as far as like discipline or like style, or not style, application, I guess. Packaging is definitely my favorite. I do a lot of packaging design and brand development, and I really love doing that. I don't know why. I think it's because I like going into stores, and just being like, wow, look at that. Anything that jumps off the shelf just gets me really excited. And so I think that's kind of what I gravitate towards as well. And the unboxing experience of like, I got this, and like, how does this open, and how do I experience what's happening here? That's always just been something I really enjoy. So anytime I get to work on that, I'm always very excited. Okay. So spacing is looking good. I always just check my spacing as I go to make sure that everything's like falling into place correctly. Okay, love this. So let's see. We have our Wish You Were Here announcement of like Mount Rubidoux. Maybe we'll do another one too, but we'll start here. I'm gonna make this the darker green just for the most contrast. And it also feels very National Parky. Okay, so we have our header. We have this section. We're gonna read more, or maybe like learn more. Maybe it should be learn more. Okay. Let's make sure that's aligned again since I changed the length of it. Again, this is something that like a copy team would also edit for you and say, this is what it should say. But sometimes you get the option. I always enjoy that. Okay, this looks centered correctly. Planning a visit, make your visit even easier, but registering your vehicle beforehand. Love that. And let's see, what else do we have? Maybe let's like do a little push for the merch store. So we have these posters we made day 1. So let's come back here. Pull this down. And let's say like, maybe here, let's do like an interesting little layout here. We'll make like a centered piece here. And delete that one. I'm gonna mirror this like that. Okay, well, maybe you can't see the whole poster. Maybe that's a bad idea. Okay, we'll do like a visit our merch store. Oops. Okay. Grab a souvenir. How about that? I do not know if that's how you spell souvenir. Souvenir. We'll shrink this down a little bit. And we'll say locally designed since I'm doing it. All of our merchandise. Is that how you spell merchandise? Merchandise is locally designed. Oops. Locally designed. Make sure to pick some up to remember your visit. Okay, and you see that little red box that shows up? That means we had overset type, meaning our type box was too small for all the type we tried to put in it. So we're just gonna scale that down or scale that bigger so we can see everyone. Love that. And maybe especially also as this like keeps going and our campaign keeps getting bigger, we're gonna have different merch to put in here, but for now we'll do that. So we'll do grab a souvenir. Love that. And I think there was another thing I was thinking as we were looking. Maybe we could do like a get on our mailing list. I think that would be a good idea. I'm trying to think is like what would be effective for the client. So if the client has put money into like creating a mailing campaign or like getting addresses and things like that, I think it'd be a good idea and worth their money to just advertise like, hey, let's get your email or give us your address so we can send you mail or promotions or whatever. We're having a lot of the same key art here, which is kind of funny. So maybe I would try and diversify this more. But I mean, maybe it's okay for our launch. Why not show them the great stuff we've made? Okay, since this has a white border, I'm going to give this a drop shadow as well. So effect, stylized, drop shadow. Love it. And then I think we're going to do like a colored background for it. So let's see what we haven't used. I think there's a lighter green we haven't used. Or is this that green? That is. Okay, so maybe let's use this like mid olive tone. Or maybe we can use the blue. I'm just going to copy all this down there. So we got options. We always like having options, right? Okay. So let's do another rectangle. Ooh, that olive is pretty nice though. Let's see. Okay. Let's do the light blue and just see. Send it back. Love it. And let's give it a fun little title like Gamel or like Gamel. That's too 90s. Let's not do Gamel. Let's stay in touch. Again, let's make sure I'm actually using consistent capitalization here. Okay, so we had all caps here, all caps there, and then this is title case. So let's make sure everything is in title case. So do type, change case, title case. That way we're staying consistent. And that's something, again, I always forget as I'm working, but then you go back and you're like, oops, I forgot about that. So let's make sure. Let's stay in touch and then let's maybe straighten this out. Not everything has to be at an angle on our email here. Copying this again, and I'm gonna say, we'd love for you, or maybe let's like stay up to date. Title case again. Stay in the know. Not the now. We can spell. Okay, stay in the know for all things mount. Oops, let's move this so we can all see it. All things mount Rubidoux. Or let's do like join our mailing list. Join our mailing list to be in the know for all things Mount Rubidoux. Love that. Put a period there. And then I'm going to put our little click button, I think, underneath it. So let's make sure this is aligned to the center of our whole email thread here. And I'm going to pull this down a little bit, oops, to make more room. And I'm going to expand our artboard again, just because this is a long email. We got a lot to say. And maybe this is a better email flow to break up into different pieces. But for now, we'll just do it this way. Let's make this button white. I like that. Oh, my grandma's watching. Hi, Grandma. Welcome to my stream. Okay, do we say register? Let's say join. Okay, let's say join the list. And we'll do a little arrow there. Love it. Okay, and let's center this as well. Make sure that's centered. Great. Or maybe let's make that the dark green. Let's get the contrast going here. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm gonna make this type white then to keep that contrast high. Stay up to date, join our mailing list. Love that. Maybe we could, let's just, I don't know. I kind of want a repeating thing here, so I'm gonna do a repeating thing. Why not? And then I had one other idea as we were going through this for the longest email that's ever existed. Let's do white. Okay. I think that would be fun. We have not started a hashtag yet or something for Mount Rubidoux. So what I was thinking, on one of these postcards, we have these like little Polaroids of like, I visited Mount Rubidoux. So maybe let's do a little like social push at the end, which I feel like is normal, right? Usually you have like follow us on Instagram or like whatever. So let's add these giant Polaroids here, and then we'll be like, tag us on social media or something like that. So one thing I think that's great about email campaigns is like it touches a lot of different aspects of your brand and your marketing without having to be in a different channel, right? Like you can pull together your social, your storefront, your print pieces. Like you can pull a lot of things into one place, which is really great. And I think a really big way to utilize your emails is to think about that. Like, how do we get people to sign up so we can stay in contact? How do we get them to know we have merchandise? How do we get them our product if they want it, right? Like, how do we make this like a one-stop shop? And I think that's a good way to think about making emails. So let's do like tag us or show something about your pictures. I don't know. Show. We'll do tag us on social. If you have a better idea, let me know. Tag us on social. I don't know. I did all caps. We were doing a title case. Great. Maybe we can do this as like a little off. Let's see if there's a way we can make these. I kind of want, so one thing I don't like about emails is sometimes that it feels really blocky. And I think you can get away with that or get away from that by overlaying the blocks, but making sure, right, like pieces are still clickable. Oh, actually, sorry, we need to grab a souvenir button, don't we? Oops. Let's give this one a button that says like shop now. The most famous button I feel like is the shop now button. Okay, well, sorry, since this is grouped, we need to make sure it's aligned. Love that. And let's change the color of this to the darkest color we have since it's on white. Make that white. Love it. We're going to center these guys all together. Great. Love that. That looks good. Centered. Amazing. Maybe this should go up here, actually. Let's not bury the lead there or bury the button. Never bury the button. Okay. Make sure this is all aligned to the page. Love that. Okay. Let's do tag us on social. Make sure these look about the same size since I was scaling them separately. Okay. And let's see, like, we love to see your photos. I'm a part-time copywriter at this point. We love to see your photos and memories from your time at Mount Rubidoux. Normally, I would be working just from like a Google Doc or like something or an email of what the copy should be. Normally, I don't get to just type this out. So you get to see it live. Memories from your time at Mount Rubidoux. And let's do this in a different typeface. So we're going to get into hierarchy a little bit here to make sure that people are seeing what's most important and reading it in order of that. So I don't think we used Helvetica yet. So maybe we'll just set a new, or Helvetica, I guess, is our body copy, but we're going to use it here as well, just to establish more hierarchy. We're going to do move this Helvetica. Oops. All right, Helvetica bold. Yeah, okay. And we'll say like use the hashtag. Let's do Mount Ruby. No, we probably should do something that's actually usable, huh? Use the hashtag Mount Rubidoux. We'll keep it simple. The marketing team can get back to us on what this should be. AKA chat, you're the marketing team for today. So if you have anything that you think would be great, let me know. Tags on social. Okay, I don't like how that laid out. That looks kind of crazy. Maybe we're just going to do it off to the side again. Or, wait, I have a better idea. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to take off this little caption that said, wish you were here. And then we're going to put, you see what I'm doing here? It's genius. It's not, but it's going to work for us. Okay. Mount Rubidoux. Did I spell it right? Yeah, Mount Rubidoux. Great. And let's put this at an angle. So now it's like a little bit more, I don't know, embedded, which I think makes it a little more exciting. And then we'll put this just as a call out here, maybe. So since this is a text box, I can just scale this back over, which is a big proponent and big reason I think you should use text boxes. Do you like gradients? Yeah, gradients are great. I can show you how to make one too if we want to do one. There's actually a new feature in Illustrator for it that I think is fantastic. Let's use the hashtag Mount Rubidoux on social media, just to give people a very clear call to action of what we want them to do. And then, okay, maybe actually we will bring that other photo back in. I think it could be in here for, our Mount Rubidoux hashtag campaign here. Oops, let's make sure those go together. This is cute. Okay, I like this. And then let's also take this and we'll put it up here. Maybe we'll be like, so let's straighten this back out. So if you go to properties, you can come here and you can click here to make it back to 0 instead of guessing. I feel like before I'd be like, is that 0? So that makes it a lot easier. Okay, we'll do like lovely. We'll make these like the captions. Lovely sunset at Mount Rubidoux. Look at that. Our social media is just gonna blow up now. Okay, lovely sunset at Mount Rubidoux. Okay, maybe we'll give this one a caption. We love to hike Mount Rubidoux. And we'll leave that. So I think this is helpful because it's like, I'm gonna use the eyedropper tool to make sure it's the same size as this typeface. What I like about this is it's giving, I feel like, a little bit more add value to your graphics instead of just being text like set in an email, which we're used to seeing. This kind of makes it feel a little more designed, which it obviously is, and just a little more thought about. And I think that really helps your customer, I think, connect with what you're trying to show them. So I think it's worth it to do stuff like that. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. I know we want it to be like really obvious, but we don't need to be that obvious, right? Okay, so we'll put this down a little bit. And you know what, maybe we'll give this a little color box too, to just give it some extra. I'm gonna color sample from this guy. I like that color. I'm gonna bring this to the back. Do we like that? I'm gonna highlight both of these and hold Option Shift to center that and scale it down. Okay, I don't know if I love it, but we're gonna do that for now so we can just keep working through this. And these are way too big, so let's pull these down to maybe like 15 or 18. Pull it together. Okay, I'm happy with that. I think that looks good. Use a gradient in this design. Okay, sure, let's do it. We have a live challenge. So let's do like the email footer then, and we'll make this into a gradient. So I'm gonna just drag or create a regular rectangle right here at the bottom. And then I'm gonna pull my colors over here for easy reference. And one of the gradient tools I like using, so the easiest way I think to do a gradient is to click on it, and then you can click right here under your color panel to click gradients and open that. So this is just a regular linear gradient. One of the gradients I'm really enjoying using, which I feel like is fairly new, I want to say in the past like 2 years, year or two, I don't know. It's probably longer than that now actually, but this one right here. So if you look, so you can get it from here, or you can come up here to your panel. I have my application or my workspace is on the essentials workspace, and then my toolbar is also turned on, and that's what's going to get you some of these extra ones at the top. So I would click on this one, and this one's going to give you, it already samples from your artwork, which I do like, but it gives you these multiple points. And I think this is very fun for creating a little less, I mean, with a linear gradient, you really have like a direction, right? Or you can do radial, which is like from the outside in or vice versa. But this one gives you a lot of control and a lot of points of contact, which I like, and it helps you introduce colors in a different way. So I'm going to sample just from my color palette that's right here. And then let's just grab, I'm just gonna do like blues and greens. Like it's just gonna feel very soothing maybe. This light blue. Okay, so I have these set, and then you can use this little button or little pole handle, I don't know what it is. You can use that to scale it up or down. So that's kind of like the saturation or like the amount of it. This is looking a little muddy. Maybe this green is too much. So maybe let's just do the one green. Or maybe it's just gonna be blues. Okay, actually let's just do greens. Let's just do a green gradient. I think these colors are a little too close for it to like work really well, and that's really dark. Or the space just could be a little small. Let's just do a 2-color gradient. That's looking crazy. So I'm gonna put this one down here. No, I feel like we could get the blue. Let's add a blue. Add a gradient. And then, so if you, that's the shortcut I usually use to get back to that. So if you click on the shape and then you click edit gradient and you mark over it or you hover over it, you get that little plus circle, and then we're gonna add something. So yeah, add that, click to add it, and then use the eyedropper tool, or you could just assign it in the color panel. And then again, we're just gonna edit it and like move these around a little bit. Whoa, we're not adding a new one. Sorry about that, as I yell in the microphone. Yeah, I don't know. These greens are just looking pretty crazy. It's giving muddy lake. All right, we're just doing green. We thought we could save it. As I'm like, you can use so many colors. You can. Or maybe let's do yellow. Okay, we have one last try, guys. I'm committed to showing you how to do this in a different way. Okay, let's do the light blue. Okay, and then edit gradient, add. Okay. All right. I'm less mad about that. It doesn't look as crazy. Whoops. Let's do, it's giving sunshine. I like that. It looks happy. Well, it's something. Maybe we just need a bigger space. I don't know. But like, see, if this was a background, I think it would be nice. So maybe it's just a little too small to use the footer, but we'll leave it there for now. And then we'll just say like, well, I'd say this is probably like the footer that, oh, that's cute, even small. Okay, we like the gradient. It just was a size that was weird. Okay, I will use that, leave that as a footer, and this is probably where they would put in like, here's your social media handles and put in your email or something like that. or we could do an email button, but so let's jump over to making a GIF since we only have a little bit of time left on our stream. But here is, again, our overview of what our email flow is looking like. I'm just going to make this artboard smaller so it looks a little more like finished. And this is kind of how I'd pass it off to the client. Or maybe let's do slices. Let's do slices and then jump over to making a GIF. So I'm going to drag out guides because I feel like the guides are helpful in, I'll turn my guides back on, in adding slices. So I'm going to add a slice here. So again, while you're slicing out your email, sometimes you'll pass off just this full Illustrator file to your client. And if you do that, you should make sure that your links are embedded. So that would look like clicking here and then clicking up here and say embed and make sure that everything goes together. Or you can package your file by going file. I need to save my file. Let's save this file as I've worked this whole time without saving. Let's do National Park and let's do email flow. Great. So now that we've saved it, you could do, oh, it's still saving, I think. Come on. Well, anyhow, what you would do is you do file package and it would kind of do like InDesign and it would pull all of your links together. So you can send all that to your client and nothing's getting lost, like an email or sorry, like an image link or anything, it'll all be there. So then let's drag in guides again. So anywhere there's a button, we're going to add a guide. That's kind of our rule here, right? So I'm going to add a guide here. And then let's do one here. And the reason we're doing this is because each of these links is going to be linked, or each of these images is going to be to a different hyperlink, right? So this one's going to our email list and this one's going to our shop. So you need to make sure that each slice can go where it needs to go. And then this last one, okay, yeah, we're doing here. Technically, these could stay together, I think, because this one doesn't have like a button or like a destination, but I'm going to leave it empty and do it as its own slice. So that way, maybe they want to link this to their social media or something like that. Okay, so to prep this for email, we are going to use our slice tool, which is over here. And if it's not, it's in the window panel, I believe. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to see a little bit closer what I'm doing here. And you're just going to drag over each section that you want. So I use the guides again in case it doesn't preview like that to know exactly where I'm going. So that's going to be slice 1. And see, I have a little number right here. That's slice 2. So I'm going to grab here and I'm going to come down to my next guide. So that should be our slice 2. Amazing. Let's get slice 3 going here since we're going to have one more or 2 more. Okay, so then it automatically makes like the next slice. So if you need to cut it down again, that's when you go. So this should be our last one, right? So we're going to cut this till here. And now we have all of our little slices. So we have slice 5. And let's just go back through and make sure that these all look good. Yay. They all got named. They look clean. Amazing. Okay, so we're going to go File, Export, Save for Web. And we're gonna make sure these are JPEG. If your client, sometimes like PNG 24 is also, but that gets transparent. So, or you can turn that off, but I usually do JPEG. So let's do that. Make sure our settings look good. And we're gonna do all slices. You could do selected slices, which if you do that, then you have to click. See how it turns from like kind of opaque to like brighter. I'm gonna do all slices since we know that we're using all of these. If you were only using parts of it or something, you could do just selected slices, but that's kind of how I do it. And then our width is right, 100%. Size, that looks great. And let's do save. And then we are going to do it into our national parks folder. And usually it creates its own folder. So let's see, click save. And let's see, yes, it did right here. So images is usually, oh, actually I lied. That could be ours. Social media, no. Okay, it went into images. Yeah, usually it makes a file called images. I already had a folder named images, so I think it just dropped it in there. But here's what our email looks like. So there would be the intro, right? This would be the first block. This would be the second block. And then, so what your client would do, right, is they would pull these into their email platform, and then they would code out each one with the hyperlink. So that's how you make an email, which is amazing. So now let's make a GIF. So this, you would have to design in Photoshop, but let's just make like the little, stamp move, and we could just code that in later. So we're going to do a new artboard in Photoshop, and we're going to do 800 by 600. And we're going to do like, I don't know, 150 again, just because we want to. Okay, and we're going to name this like stamp GIF to get a little dancing GIF over here, or dancing stamp. I'm going to turn the background on. Well, we can leave it on for now. No, let's turn it off. Okay, so I'm going to grab my stamp, and I'm going to paste it here so I can straighten it back out. And then we're just going to bring this into Photoshop. So I'm going to just let me tell you what I'm doing here. I'm going to press Command C, and then I'm going to jump into Photoshop, Command V, and I'm just going to paste it as pixels. So that kind of gets away some of the metadata. And it's going to think about it. Okay, great. Hold on. All right. I'm going to scale this down a little bit. Oops. I'm just going to hold Option so it scales to the center. Love that. Okay, so I have this open already, but how you get this open, this little animation panel at the bottom, is you're going to go to Window, and then you're going to go down to Timeline. So I'll turn it off so I can show you. So Window, Timeline, and then there's two options here. There's Video Timeline or there's Frame Animation, and we're going to be doing Frame Animation. So each frame then is going to be its own layer, and this gets a little tricky. So you definitely practice this, and you'll figure it out as you go. But so this is going to be our first frame. So you want to have it where you want to have the shape where you want it to be for like the first frame. So I'm going to tilt it to the left. That's going to be our first frame. Press Enter, and then I'm going to click Create Frame Animation, and then I am going to make a new layer, and then I'm going to turn this one off. Oops. Oh, sorry. I need to duplicate it. Delete, yes. Okay, duplicate this layer. Then I'm going to tilt it to the other side. And then I'm going to turn that first one off. And then I'm going to click this little plus button and make my second frame. So, but what happened is the first one, hold on. Let's go back to our first frame. Why is it linking both of my frames? That's weird. So far, she's not moving. Love that. Okay, layer 2. Okay, there we go. Let's do our next layer. And so actually for our next layer, I'm just going to duplicate frame 1 and 2. So let me walk through what I did again, because that got kind of weird. So delete. So here's frame 1. She's going to the left. Then we're going to do frame 2. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to rotate it. And then I'm going to make sure I turn off this one. Why is it doing that? I lied. I don't know why it's changing like that. Do it that way. Okay. So we should do all of our layers first is what I'm understanding, but I think I'm only going to do 2. Let's do a third one in there. So let's name these 2 so you don't get lost. 1, 2, oops, 2. Sorry, my mic is like right in front of my keyboard, so I'm like trying to see it. 3. Okay, great. And 3 is we're going to make it just straight. So let's like get this back to close to straight because we pasted it strange. Okay, so now we're gonna start over. So we're gonna do layer 1, so it's off to the side. Layer 2, we're gonna turn on this one, and then I'm gonna do one new layer and turn on 3. This one probably should be actually in the middle. Let's do that one in the middle. We'll change these around. Let's do 2. I'm just gonna be confusing you guys here. I'm sorry. Okay, so here's 1. Here's layer 2, so it's centered, and then layer 3 is gonna be this one. So let's go ahead and press play here. And it's going crazy fast, but we see like the motion that's going to get here. So we're going to highlight all 3 of these. Whoa. So I'm just going to click. So come on. There you go. So I'm holding shift click. I'm going to click all of these, and then I'm going to go to 2 seconds, and let's see if that feels better. Maybe that's like too slow. Like it's not, or maybe that's cute. I don't know. Let's see what like 0.1 would look like. So again, shift click, hold all 3, and let's do 0.1. That's too much. Okay. So 0.2 is going to be fine. So change it back to 0.2, and let's just like watch and make sure that's cute. Or maybe it needs 1 at the end so it's not jumping all the way to the side. All right, so this is probably gonna screw the whole thing up then, huh? Let's see. We're gonna duplicate this layer. Let's do this as 4. And that one is gonna be the centered one. Oh, actually. Sometimes it's just work as you go, you know? Duplicate that, and we're gonna make that 4. 4. Okay, great. And then we're on a new layer and make that 4. Okay, so now let's play this again. Okay, that looks less crazy, right? Because then it's not just jumping like middle and then all the way to the left. It's kind of like going back and forth. And I like the speed of that. So you can change how many times this loops. So if you did 3 times, it would just go 3 times and then stop. So I usually do forever. And then I'm gonna highlight click all of these and go File, Export, Save for Web. And this is going to open up this dialog box, and you're going to choose GIF because GIF is what keeps it moving. And then we're going to go click, so this all looks good. You can either click done just to double check, or you can click save. And then we're going to put this on our national park. Yes, our GIF. So let's do stamp GIF. That's great. Image only. Yep, that's great. Setting, great. So let's press save. And now when we go to our file, it should just be in here. And look, it's dancing all around, which is really cute. We love that. So what we could do to make sure that this is looking like our whole frame here, or our email header. So you could leave this on its own, right? If it's just this little dancing GIF, and this could even just sit, say like we did this parking pass and it didn't have a background because it's transparent, that would work fine. Or we can add a background to this, and so that we could put type over it. So let's turn this on. So this is going to turn it on because it's underneath all the other layers. This is going to be present for all the layers. And I'm going to change our canvas size to be, let's see how big that height was. The height of this is 730, so let's match that. Canvas size. Aaron says he feels like dancing now. Yes, we love the stamp. She had her moment. Okay, so let's change the width to 600 to match our email, and the height was 730. 730. Okay, love it. Proceed. It said, are you sure? And we said yes. Okay, let's scale this, and then actually, let's see what our color green is that we're using here. I'm going to click here to get the hex code, come back here. I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to use the fill to get that green color. Yay. Okay, great. And we're going to put that at the bottom. So now our little stamp is dancing on the green, but it is kind of big. So we could scale our stamp. I don't know if we can do it this way. Let's see if it works. Hello. Okay, yes, stop playing. Okay, let's see if we can do this or if it's going to break our stamp. I hope it doesn't. I hope this works. It only affects the one layer. What if I have them all on? Will that work? Let's see. No, it will only affect the layer that we're on. Okay, so when you do this, you should probably make sure that it's the size that you want from the beginning. But now you know how to make a GIF. We have enough time. I could redo it. Should I redo it? Let's do it. Why not? Let's see how far we can get. Okay, let's just go ahead and put this in here to make sure that it all just sits nicely. So I'm gonna post this or put this on the background. I'm gonna scale this down. So then this would just be one slice that you would send separately to your client. Okay, so as you can see right here, it affected all the layers, which is great. And then we're gonna bring our stamp back in from the top. Do you have any graphic design books to recommend? Ooh, that's a good question. I was enjoying, gosh, what's her name? I can see it from here in my room, but I can't think of what it is. Gosh, oh, Jessica Hish has a really fun typography book. I really enjoyed reading her book. I think it's Jessica Hish. Could be wrong. There's one that's like prop design book I've been really enjoying. But as far as graphic design, I don't know. The Logo Modernism book is a classic. I think that's really cool. But I don't know. Chat, if you have any recommendations, I'm sure Andrew, our producer, has some good recommendations if you want to put that in. Sorry, Andrew, did you say ABC 3D? What is that? Okay, Andrew is suggesting, Andrew's in my ears telling me what he suggests, but ABC 3D, he says, is a pop-up alphabet book, which sounds very cool. We could be a fan of that. Hold on, let me delete that. That doesn't seem right. Delete layer 3. Yes, okay. We're gonna rotate that one this way. Love that. And one more, make it centered. Great, okay. And let's layer these again. So this is 1, 2. Is there like a particular like area of design you'd like to learn more about? Because we could maybe recommend something that's more specific. Okay, so this is layer 1. Love that. Layer 2. Layer 3. And layer 4. Okay, let's play this and see how we look. Yay! Very cute. It's dancing. It's having a great time. Okay, so let's highlight all of these again and we'll do file, export, GIF. And most, emails now support GIF files, so that we should be totally fine. And then again, because this is just one layer, this would be clickable and go where we want it to be. Let's do stamp GIF with background. Yay, cool. Now let's check that it made it out. Amazing. Okay, and this looks a little pixely, but that's because this is going to go for email and all things on web look like that. My screen is a different situation there. So then let's pull out these emails into like an email folder. And this is how I would like pass it off to my client. So I put these all in one folder. I'm going to move these back here. Get our stamp GIF going on. And then I would maybe do this like image 1. And then I would do this as like image 1 GIF. And this usually just helps to make sure that this like gets coded correctly and input in the email correctly. Image 2. I forget our image 3. I think this was our image 3. Whoops. Great. And this is image 4. And then image 5. Okay, guys. So that would be our email flow. Oops, image F. Image 5. So that would be our email flow. And let me just like recap everything that we've worked on then in this Bootcamp. So we started from ground zero. We made this poster. We made it appear on social media. We made a direct mailer campaign. We made with data merge, so we can actually get this out to people. We made a parking pass, which is amazing. And then we made an email. So this is our official email that's going to be going out. So, I mean, put your email in, we'll subscribe you. Just kidding. But I'm really glad that you've all hung out this week. It's been such a fun time doing all this with you guys. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out on my website, on Instagram, anything. Happy to chat with you guys. But enjoy you guys jumping in. Stick around after this stream. There is an Adobe Express stream afterward. I forget what it is that we are teaching on that one, but very excited for that. So stick around, and then hope you have a great weekend and enjoy all things design.